everyone. It's time to eat, drink, and be merry with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy.
Well, I want to eat, drink, and be merry in Tualatin Valley, Oregon.
I know.
Nancy, are you ready for that?
I want to eat. I want to drink.
I want to have wine.
Eat, drink, and do the whatever.
Yeah, you know. We have Big Blend travel writer Linda Kissam, the food, wine, and shopping diva, back on the show today. She recently went on a unique wine tasting adventure in Tualatin Valley, Oregon. And the whole thing was she got these behind the tasting counter stories. Like she got what's going on behind the scenes. What makes the winery? You know, we talk about farm to table. She's like, you can talk that, but you know what? How did the wine get in the glass? What's the backstory? And that's what she did. So she wrote an amazing article.
Before one of us drank it?
Yeah. She wrote an article focusing on 5 wineries, their backstories, some famous, some up and coming. You can read her article in the February through April issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. That's February through April 2019. And also, you can go on blendradioandtv.com right now and get it. Just type in Tualatin, and I'm going to spell that. Tualatin, Tualatin Valley. But today she's back on Big Blend Radio, and she's got 2 special guests joining us. She's got Sylke Neal-Finnegan from Washington County Visitors Association, and this is the go-to place for planning your vacation, so tualatinvalley.org. And she also has artist and winemaker Andrew Beckham joining us from Beckham Estate Vineyard, and you can go to beckhamestatevineyard.com for that. But first things first, Diva Linda, because she's a diva, welcome back. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you very much. I am now located in Arizona for this the winter season. I have a new puppy, and I'm drinking a heck of a lot of wine.
Wow. So you're our neighbor now, for now.
I am your neighbor. Here I am. I have no furniture, no nothing, but here I am in my new house.
Well, if you like some furniture, I'll give you some because we're leaving in a few months. So you move in and we leave. You know, this is what happens. But we're not moving. We're leaving to go on the road full time to document every single park we can in the country. So it's a little bit different. But Diva Linda, we'll see you before we leave the state line. How about that?
Yes, and I hope to see you in Washington when we're up there as well.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
Now, you've been focusing a lot on the Pacific Northwest, and Oregon has been a destination this last year, 2018. You covered a lot of Oregon, and Tualatin Valley seems to really strike a chord with you in regards to people's stories of how they created the winery, how did they start it, and that's something I know, Nancy and I were traveling with you too, that you're always interested in the entrepreneur story. So this seemed to happen for you in Tualatin, and I know that won't happen if the wine isn't good.
That is correct. So this is a very interesting area. Most people just go over to the Willamette Valley and don't quite get over to this valley. And I'm going to say that these wines are really exceptional. The stories are exceptional. If you're a person who you've been there, done that, had a lot of wines, but you're looking more to engage and to understand how wines are made, why they're made, where they're made, vine to bottle, this would be a very, very good place for you to visit. If you're tired of going to Napa, Sonoma, Paso, etc., this is a place to go, and it's only a very short ride from the airport. So I'm going to say you need to do this. They're lovely, lovely places to stay, great places to eat, but the backstories on the wine. Take your notebook and be ready to go.
I'm excited about this because I know I was reading in your article that it's like 16 minutes from Portland, and
right.
I mean, I love Oregon. Oregon's one of the most amazing states, and it's just an awesome region. I want to bring our guests on. First, let's bring Sylke Neal-Finnegan on, and she, again, is from the Washington County Visitors Association. The website, again, tualatinvalley.org. And welcome to the show, Sylke. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So you relocated from Vegas, Nevada, am I right, to go to Oregon?
Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay, that's like night and day. Like it's different. I know Vegas very well, and Oregon is like a whole different landscape. You have moisture in the air. It's a little different.
That's why I picked to live here, because it's definitely 180-degree difference from the desert.
This is in Washington County. So when we're looking at Portland, which way are we going for, if we land in Portland?
You're going west, so we're right next door to Portland. So we're kind of the suburbs of Portland, if you will. And so we're a quick hop, skip, and a jump from Portland and the Portland airport. And we love showing off our wineries because you don't have to drive an hour to get out of the city and into wine country. You're just minutes away here in Tualatin Valley.
And do a lot of people, obviously come from Portland to hang out in your area, but do you get people from Washington, California, Northern California coming to visit you?
We have people from all over the world coming to visit us. Cool. Domestically, we get a lot of people from the East Coast, believe it or not. A lot of people from the Carolinas, from Florida, New York. We're quite popular among the East Coast folks.
And everyone's coming from that Pinot Noir, right? Is that the main drive for them?
Oh, definitely. Pinot Noir is what made Oregon wine what it is, and that's what we're best known for. But one thing, Tualatin Valley, as well as other parts of the Willamette Valley as well, it's our whites that are kind of the undersung varietals of Oregon wine.
Diva Linda, you mentioned that not only for Tualatin but also Willamette, you talk about that where the Chardonnays are starting to sneak up as well. Did you enjoy the whites when you were there?
Yeah, I liked the whites a lot. I thought the Pinot was, of course, fantastic, and it's not overly ripe, which is nice. Pinot shouldn't be overly ripe, so they're doing a good job with that. And then their whites are coming along very, very well. One of the nice things about the newer plantings, the newer wineries, and I'm going to say a lot of these are newer wineries, meaning that a lot of them were done in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, not in the 50s, 60s, is that they have the clones right. And if the clones aren't right, then they take them out and they put the right clones for the right weather. The universities are, and they're surrounded by universities, the universities are doing a lot of research. They're working with the vineyards. Sylke can speak to that, but there's a lot of research going on about what clones do what. And the fun thing about Tualatin is that they really try not to do a lot of anything but sort of natural care of the vines, and that is, I think, expressed in the wine. And our guest Andrew will be able to really speak to that about just caring and naturally, and not forcing the vines and not doing a lot of crazy, stuffola to them. So I think this is, and I think that's with the reds and the whites, and I think they have the benefit of modern technology and great attitudes, right? And not I've always done it like this before, so I'm going to keep doing it. It's a really great sharing attitude that I saw there.
And looking
That's
at being biodynamic and organic, sustainable, certified live wines. There's this. It's just really like, oh wow, this is something's going on over there. I want to go check it out. So let's bring on Andrew Beckham again from the Beckham Estate Vineyard. His website is BeckhamEstateVineyard.com. Very easy. Andrew, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
We're very excited to have you on the show because I don't think I know anybody who makes amphoras. Am I even pronouncing that correctly?
Yes, amphora, that's correct.
Okay,
wow,
so this, like, when I was looking at the pictures that Diva Linda took and going on your website, I'm like, seriously, I feel like I want to go there and, like, do the Greek god grape thing and just, I don't know, I feel like I want, servants or something. I really don't. But no, honestly, when you, this is an ancient art form that you are doing. That this is really interesting because from what Diva Linda is talking about in her article, that you guys are so savvy technically, like looking at how can we really take care of the land better when we look at technology and what we can do. Yet at the same time, you're going back to really ancient times. So it's really interesting, and definitely your winery is doing that.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic marriage of my two passions to be able to intertwine the ceramics and the winemaking together. And we are definitely looking at historic practice, but also modern winemaking practice and how it relates to what we're trying to accomplish.
Can you tell everybody about what an amphora is? Because I didn't know what it was until I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, I know what that is, but I didn't know. And, you know, I'm blonde, but anyway. Just saying.
So
just saying.
An amphora is a terracotta winemaking vessel, winemaking jar that's made of earthenware. And there are different terms that describe different geographic regions who have terracotta pots. There are qvevri from Armenia and Georgia, and amphora is more of an Etruscan form. There are dolium. There are tinaja from Spain and Portugal. But the commonality is the material. They're a terracotta earthen clay vessel. And the vessels breathe a lot. They're much more porous than other containers. And they have the tendency to deliver a wine that's very pure in its essence, lacking wood tannin and other attributes that come from containers of other sorts.
But when you say container or jar, we're not talking like the size of a mason jar. Like this is like the size of a person almost, like, right?
They're substantial, yeah. The vessels that I'm making range in size from 40 to 120 gallons, and they require material ranging from 4 to 1,200 pounds of clay in their construction. So they're monumental.
Wow.
I can, even being a big person, I can get into the inside of them.
No way.
Yeah, the largest vessels we make can accommodate a little over 1,000 pounds of fruit. So about a half ton. Yeah.
Do you have to put them in like because like I have friends who do ceramics and clay, and they have a kiln and all this. Do you have to
how do you
kiln
these? There are many challenges working with vessels of this scale. My studio doesn't look like your typical backyard pottery shop. We have a crane that flies in the air to move the vessels around.
I want one.
The kilns are on big, gigantic gantries that lift up into the air. They look like bells that come down over the vessel when it's to be fired. And the firings are quite complicated. They range between 90 and 100 hours for each vessel. So there's a lot of technology that goes into ensuring their success during the firing process.
So this ain't no pizza oven.
I just want to ask, what kind of permits did you have to go get to do that?
Yeah, really.
Well, you know, I don't. We've got a permitted structure for a pottery shop, but we're not in a situation where we're zoned for commercial manufacturing, so we have to be, aware of our situation.
This is amazing to me because it really takes us back to wines. And I interviewed Kevin Bigos, who wrote a book about what is the oldest wines, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Leonardo da Vinci's vineyard and stuff. Like wow, and it was all the way back in like Georgia, like you were saying, in these times. And I'm like, there's something about the techniques that were used back then. So when you're making wine and you've got these big, giant clay vessels, like, I want to make big fountains of them. I mean, I'm looking at these these are beautiful. Like, does it change how when you're putting wine in these? How does that all change, and how does that differ from putting it into big oak barrels or the stainless steel barrels?
Yeah, I think I can. I can
You're going
answer
to get
that
into
question.
the back now. That's what whoever is saying that in the background is telling you to get in there. Get in the amphora.
The school's PA system telling me I've got 10 minutes till doomsday here before the next bell rings. So for us, making wine in the amphora really relates directly to our farming practice. We started farming our vineyard organically in 2012, the same year I started making the terracotta amphora. And it was during those years, 2012, 2013, that we stopped using products in our winemaking, and we used commercial yeast to complete the fermentation. We stopped adding water or acid if it needed to be done. We focused more on farming and farming for the style of wine we're trying to make. So making wine in the amphora is just a natural progression of that frame of thought and that movement. The wines that come from the clay pots are incredibly pure. The clay acts as a large fining chamber. It actually binds and stabilizes proteins, which can be done with a product called bentonite, which is clay-based. The wines evolve at a faster rate because of the porosity. So really for us, it all coincided. The movement into natural winemaking, the progression from organic to finally biodynamic farming, it all ties together.
Wow, this is so fascinating. And so you're going like as natural as you can, but aren't you also dry farming your land?
Absolutely, yes. We've never irrigated. We do a little hand watering in establishment in year one, which requires many lengths of garden hose and a lot of effort. But we are actually members of the Dry Roots Coalition. It's an organization of wine grape growers who don't irrigate, who are depending on the vines to find a source of moisture over time.
Wow. Diva Linda, good find.
Wow, this is so fascinating. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say one thing. Not only are these practical, these amphoras practical, but they are beautiful. Some are more beautiful than others, and of course some are commissioned. Many are commissioned for others, not just in Oregon, but as I understand it, elsewhere. And they're because Andrew is a ceramics person, a teacher, an artist, etc., and so forth. They're done with great care and great beauty. So, even if, I would love to have a misfire in my house just because they're so beautiful. They are just, they just remind you of a finer way, a more beautiful way to do wine, but just visually they are just gorgeous. And my first impression was, oh, Lordy, look at that. I wish I had 7 of them. They're just beautiful, Andrew. You really, not only are they practical, but I know you've put your own stamp on it. I know you can't produce as many as people want, and there's a reason for that. But, boy, I'm really impressed that you found your niche, and what a great one it is.
I know, and it's so unique.
Thank you for the affirmation. I focus a lot on the aesthetics. Sometimes it drives my wife crazy that I am so hung up on the way they look, when really it's about their functionality. But for me, it's twofold. They need to work, but they need to look pretty and pleasing. And
they're gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really unique because it teaches us something. It reminds us about where wine came from. It takes us back, and it takes us back into times where things were functional and beautiful at the same time. Functional art. This goes beyond the functional art. I know Nancy's tripping out.
No, to me, things need to breathe. Like the roots of the plants need to work their way down or across, and they need that room to breathe. And they need to be able to go get the moisture. And I like that you let them do their thing. And then when you're looking at your art, it's the same thing. It breathes. It has to breathe. And we, in our modern society have kind of gone, everything must be plastic, and you can't breathe in it.
And wine allows you to breathe.
And you know what? Yes, it does. And you know what? This whole thing, and I think Sylke will probably agree with this, this whole concept, the Beckham Vineyard concept, is sort of what the Valley is about. Sylke, would you say that? This is sort of a metaphor. This winery is sort of a metaphor for what you guys are doing in general.
Absolutely. Tualatin Valley, as well as the entire Willamette Valley, for that matter, we're all about pioneering spirit and doing things differently, and that is, I think, all of Oregon is that way, where we kind of dance to the beat of our own drummers, where we do something and we want to be different, and luckily for us, the results are usually pretty good.
Awesome. And you're also really strong on sustainability. That's the one thing about Oregon. I mean, every time I go to Oregon, I'm just like, okay, I want to stop here and stay here. Like, just leave me here, just drop me off, because there's something magical about Oregon. It is magic. Like when you go in the forest areas, like there's fairies in that forest. There's like little deer. No, I'm sorry. I'm telling you. To me, Oregon is like. I look at Oregon like Merlin's going to come out and all of that, Robin Hood and everything in the forest. I'm sorry, I'm not being weird, but it's true. There's this magical quality of taking you back to roots and allowing you to breathe when we talk about the terracotta. But there is this real thing about Oregon about being real and authentic and doing things the right way and getting your hands dirty. But you can polish off later and, go to a la-di-da wine tasting, But there's this balance of life. And I think Oregon really as a state does something really well in regards to balance and understanding food, wine, beer as well. Oregon's always done well with that. But just everything on that. There's this everything you do matters. And Sylke, moving from Vegas to there, it's got to be. It's not necessarily slower, right? It's attention to detail.
Yes, it is attention to detail, and funny that you say that it's magical, because our friends and partners at Travel Oregon, which is the state tourism commission, they have a new hashtag, which is Oregon is Magic, and so we're very well aware of what a wonderful place this is. And it's not necessarily slower. It is just a different way of life where we really appreciate our farmers and our vintners and our makers, and we appreciate that craft that goes into everything that we eat, things that we buy, things that we wear.
I love that. And it is. It's that a craft, too. We got to go back to that word. And so I'm allowed to talk about Merlin and fairies, right, Sylke?
Sure.
I'm sorry. But when I went there, I was like, I found the Sherwood Forest. To me, I don't know.
Well, because
there's like, I was really, truly got so happy in Oregon. Like every time it happens, there's this thing, there's like a euphoria. And I wonder, it's because of the land and the taking care of the land. So, Diva Linda, you know me well. Am I being weird about the fairies in the forest? Like, you know me.
Don't ask me that question.
Don't answer if I'm weird. But well, you know what I mean? There's this magical part of the land. You know how we are about the land.
It is, and I wish you could see, especially, I saw 5 wineries, but Beckham in particular was a little different because it's in this thick forest.
In Sherwood, by the way.
Yeah.
Where we have the Robin Hood Festival once a year, if you're coming to visit in the summer.
No way.
I see. Okay, you really do?
We have to connect him with Glenn in England with the Robin Hood thingy.
Yeah. No. Okay, wait. You really? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we do. We have a Robin Hood Festival in the summer. They have all kinds of shooting events with bows and arrows, and I think you may even see the Maid Marian.
You don't want me with bows and arrows, because someone's going to get their butt hurt, and probably myself, because that's a dangerous thing.
We have to connect.
Okay, so I'm not weird. I don't have this weird magical idea, and I didn't obviously do my research well enough on this, because I'm like, wow, this is cool wine. There's big terracotta vessels that are like the size of a person. There's the beep. I've been waiting.
Apologize.
When I think about this, Diva Linda, hello, magic. You got wine, you got forest, you got deer in the forest. I know you do. And you've found all these amazing wineries that, are looking at the land. So that these festivals can even occur, that magic.
Well, it's just, I don't know. It's just, as you say, it's a very special place. This particular vineyard is out in the middle of the thick forest. It was very odd when I got there. I thought, how can they make wine with all these big trees everywhere?
Right, yeah.
I can't even imagine how much you had to, Andrea, I don't know, how much you had to plow or take away trees, or maybe there was a natural clearing, but you're surrounded by dense growth.
No, actually, when we started there in 2004, the entire property was in 60-year-old Doug fir. It was a tree farm. So it was an incredible amount of work to not only cut the trees, but to pull the stumps and then prepare the land and pull the rocks. And my wife and I had propagated all of our own vines. In addition, we set up a small nursery and propagated and really did everything with love.
So,
yeah.
Did you test the soil and go, this is perfect for this kind of grape? I mean,
yeah, we did know that the soils and the elevation and aspect were just right. I mean, we're really at the sweet spot. We're just under 700 feet elevation. We have volcanic soils, Jori soils, very shallow basaltic sublayer, a big diurnal shift day to night. So we're really lucky that we had the right spot to grow wine grapes.
I'll tell you
most
what,
people would look at a forest and go, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Diva Linda.
If you have volcanic, if anybody says anything about volcanic soil, that makes rich wines, really nice wines. So, if I had my soil tested and it said, part of it was volcanic, I would be doing the happy dance of good wine. So I can understand what he's saying. Yeah, really nice.
Well, Diva Linda, welcome to Arizona, because some parts we do have some volcanic area, and there's some near you. Just telling you.
Okay,
anyway.
I'll see if there's any wines going on there.
It's weird and different, but anyway, no, you have to go south for the wine. But it's really interesting, because when you think about what has happened, I know that your area is also part of the Ice Age Trail, of what happened with this gigantic shift of snow and ice years and years and years and years ago. So do you ever delve into that, Andrew? Like, hey, what happened way back when on this property? Like, you guys were part of the ice trail. I mean, that's crazy. Like, you had glaciers on your property, man.
The geology is incredible in our region. Just on our vineyard, we have volcanic soils at the top, and we have laurelwood soils at the bottom, which are flood-deposited soils. So we have a 34-acre piece, and we have two very different soil types on our vineyard site.
Oh, wow. So then you can change what you're going to grow. If you have two different types, you change what grape goes where?
We haven't planted anything in the laurelwood soils yet, but that is of interest to us. And yes, I think we'll probably look at some different varietals based on soil type. I'm really interested in local history, so I've done a lot of research into the history of our mountain. And the people who homesteaded up there in the 1860s grew hops until Prohibition, and then black caps and strawberries, and nothing worked. They lived in squalor for 3 generations. And it was all planted to timber in the 1940s and 50s. So it's interesting to know, who lived on our mountain before us and what they were up to and what worked and didn't work.
So it wasn't necessarily a forest at the beginning, or was it?
It was an old-growth forest where they planted hops in clearings, and they grew the hops on treetops. They would set the treetop down when they're ready to harvest the hops. And it was Parrot Mountain was a migration route for the Indians coming from the Grand Ronde Valley to the waterfall at Oregon City to harvest lamprey. So there are all sorts of Native American markers on our mountainside that directed indigenous peoples to their fishing grounds.
Wow. This is amazing. Listen, okay, so if you were doing hops, you could have tree houses everywhere. Like, and that would be cool. Like, seriously.
Right?
That'd be way cool.
I know. You got to have a tree house on your winery. I'm just saying. You can't put one of your big vessels up there, but you could do a tree house if you got cranes and things. That would be cool. That would be super cool. But I want to go back to Diva Linda, because Andrew's one of 5 stories that you share in your article, and everyone, you can go there. But what was interesting to me is this diversity of stories. You had, one area that one winery is biodynamic, and certified doing that. You have all these different generations, like David Hill Vineyards. That is one of the oldest Pinot vines in the area. Montanore Estate is the one I was talking about. That's certified biodynamic. So everybody seems to have their claim to what makes them unique. So was that what was interesting for you, that everybody had this like unique story, unique take of how they?
Yeah, I think probably Sylke can probably even talk to this after I'm done. But what I enjoyed was that you have some very slick wineries. I would say Ponzi, which is very large and very beautiful and has a gorgeous tasting room, and seems to be sort of a, I'm not going to say a pioneer, but a leader in many ways. And it's owned by two women, and it's really quite wonderful. Yeah, but it's big and slick, and they have not only a wine tasting room, but they have a pairing room and all sorts of wonderful things that maybe would be of interest to a lot of people. Hammacher Wines is one that is just, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, is more of a boutique winery. I love to watch the boutique wineries and see what they do. You know, a boutique winery does not have to grow up. It can stay a boutique winery and be very, very successful. One of the best examples I've ever seen of that is Hart Winery in Temecula Valley.
Yeah. I remember them.
They never grew up. They didn't need to grow up. They just stayed very small and made some of the best wines in the valley. So, you know, just because you're big or just because you're small doesn't mean one thing or another. It means
size does not matter, everybody.
That is right. You have to. Size does not matter. So Hammacher Wines, I love the man who is behind the tasting counter, and he's finding his way with his wines, and they were good. I mean, I didn't find any wines I didn't like, but Hammacher was wonderful. Montanore was a very, very interesting, larger winery again, split tasting room, gift shop. We all know how much I love a good gift shop.
No, if there's shopping involved.
Yeah, there's shopping involved, and so actually I brought home a little something from them, and it was so. Every time I go in my living room, which of course now I don't have a living room, but if I did, there it would be. So I will have a living room eventually.
It will be there
right
soon.
Hey,
listen, I just want to say that I think you need to have one of Andrew's amphoras out there. Remember when you first bought your place in Arizona, you put it up on Facebook. Everybody, what do I do with this one spot right by the lake thing?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Have an amphora, but then you would probably won't see the lake.
Oh my God! I would be like the star of the neighborhood. No one has an amphora.
I am the diva.
That is
Take
that.
Oh
my Lord!
Neighborhood.
Andrew, you tell me when you get a misfire or a crack or something, and I might be down there to pick it up because.
Okay.
Oh, you have no idea.
We have shipped them. I've sent them as far as Temecula, California.
Really? Right. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll be talking to you.
Okay.
I will be talking to you, and then the last one that I think it deserves recognition is David Hill Vineyards. This is a kind of it's a 140-acre site. It's gone through several owners, and this last set are really doing a great job with it. I think they're the third generation a farm team, really interested in holding on to the history of what the farm was and what it can be and what it will be, and impressed with their wines. They have a cute little tasting room, and now Sylke set all these up for us, and I don't know, Sylke, why did you decide that these 5 were good examples of what our group should have seen or should see?
Yeah, because you have like over 30 wineries, right, in your area?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough trying to whittle down to a few wineries out of those 30-plus wineries. And all of these wineries are important to the Tualatin Valley story as well as the Oregon wine story.
Yeah.
And go ahead. Oh, and David Hill, that's the site of the Corey Clone Pinot Noir, which are supposedly the oldest vines in the entire Willamette Valley. And those vines are what David Lett used to create his vineyard, and David Lett is known as the father of Oregon wine. And so that history, that even though David Hill, its current iteration is newer, it has a deep history in that Oregon wine story that happened over 55 years ago. And then Montanore is the largest biodynamic winery in the country in terms of production.
Really?
And
that's amazing, because that is different, because you're looking at going with the cycles of the land, right? When you're biodynamic, you're looking at
Correct,
the moon,
yes.
And you're going to do something with cow horn or something under the ground with poop or something.
Everyone always remembers the cow horns and the poop.
There's something to do with that. I know it happens, but anyway, but it goes with the moon, and the moon is part of our cycles of life. So it's a very feminine way of making wine. It's nice.
And farmers have been farming that way for generations. And so I'm glad that we're to the point now where we're bringing back these older methods. And most of our wineries dry farm as well. So the phases of the moon and the sustainability of everything is something that we here in Oregon we take very, very seriously. And
it's a nice balance. It's a balance.
It is a nice
because you're
balance.
looking at technology also helping you to move forward. So there's this balance of working with modern things and then also going, hey, some of these things in the past worked well, so let's work with them.
I like it because they're going back and going, we were right in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. No, but this is so cool. So, Andrew, I want to go back to your winery over at Beckham Estate Winery, vineyard, I should say. You're a family, and your grandparents were involved. You've got kids out. What's it like raising a family on a vineyard? Do your kids they don't get as much time on a cell phone? What's it like?
Well, it's a challenge, and it's amazing at the same time. Our kids are known as the mountain folk by all their classmates at school. They have a 55-minute bus ride. And for them, they don't know any different other than living in the country, but it's hard because they don't have any playmates around. But their days are full of plenty of obligations. They all have farm duties. We raise chickens and pigs and sheep and bees, and so the kids all have a lot to do when they get up early in the morning and when they come home from school. We really love raising our kids in such a special environment, where they have room to run and they get to experience life cycles of animals and they get to really understand what it's like to raise something and the hardship of failure when we have conditions that are adverse and Mother Nature doesn't cooperate. And I think it's been a fantastic experience for them, a lot different than my own growing up in Lake Oswego as a native Oregonian.
And Diva Linda, this is why I'm so glad about this story, that you focus on these 5 wineries, and we have Andrew on and Sylke on too, that we're looking at what it's like to be a winemaker, because we can sip our wine. We could buy wine in a store, but who did what and where? And it's the same thing. We want our food to be as pure as it can be, and it's difficult. It's a challenge. Depending on where you live, depending on your wallet, depending on all of that. And at the same time, winemaking is incredibly expensive, right, Andrew? It's not cheap to do this. Right?
No, especially on a school teacher's salary, yeah. Our winery sometimes reminds people of Sanford and Son. And they see the way we have stuff set up. But it's expensive, and it's hard if you're not capitalized, but it's possible. And I think it's come up a couple times in this conversation. The people in our community are incredibly collaborative, and they're incredibly supportive. And I think almost anyone's willing to lend a hand or lend a piece of equipment or a favor or, a little extra of some of their time when people are in need. It's just the nature of the way the community of winemakers works in Oregon.
That's nice. And I think that really when communities work together, when you look at a destination and, hey, we're going to have wine, and if winemakers work together, then you're going to be more successful. And I think as a visitor going into an area, you know when people are working together or not. And if they're not, it becomes not a positive experience. So, Diva Linda, that's something that you picked up on this area, like, hey, I have to focus on these stories because this is about people working together. And so is it a more welcoming environment for you when you were there in Tualatin Valley?
Well, I loved it. I thought it was fabulous. A lot of it has to do with Sylke and how they arranged this press trip. There's no doubt about that. I saw the best of the best, I think, certainly for what I enjoy. I mean, we also were at gorgeous lodging, which helps because when there's good lodging, you know, then you can rest up for the next day. I was there for quite a while, so that was wonderful. The place
give everyone a shout out. Give the shout out to the lodging place because you know, it's important. I want people to know.
It was the Residence Inn by Marriott, Portland Hillsboro. It's a newer venue, and gosh, whoever designed that really had good taste. It has a separate bedroom, and it has a kitchen, and it has like a little sitting room.
Really? Cool. Oh, wait a minute. Now Nancy and I are interested. It's got a kitchen in there? I'm in.
Got a kitchen. I know. A lot of people don't want to eat out every night. They would prefer to maybe have some wine and cheese and pick up things at the store and sort of just recoup. And I think that for me, because I travel a lot, that was especially lovely, and I really, really liked it. And we also got to go do some beer tasting, which I really liked. There was something called Stickman Brewing Beer Hall. I love beer halls anyway, and basically that means you have a whole lot of beer and some things to eat, and wood-fired pizza works for me. And we got to go to two really nice, really, really nice restaurants. Copper River Restaurant, I think it features 54 craft beers, so you can't lose on that one. But really a very
I could go there every week then.
There you go. It's something called Bethany's Table. It's in kind of an upper sophisticated, hip kind of neighborhood. But and so, you know, you feel good when you go there. But I'll tell you what, the owners there are so wonderful and so engaging, and they're so engaged in what they do that they engage you. But the food was just great, and if anybody goes there, that I would highly recommend that. And then, as I understand it, I hope next year in the spring, well, it wouldn't be in the spring, it would probably be in the fall or summer. Sylke tells me that there are arts and lots of art and gardens to visit as well.
Diva Linda's getting back there. I hear it. I hear her.
I just think that a wine region that has art and gardens has got to be the most magical place really on the world. Sylke, am I right? We talked about art and gardens as well.
Yes, and not just in Tualatin Valley, but the entire Portland region, because Portland they're very well known for their Japanese garden and their international rose test garden.
Oh, we went there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, and public art is all over in Tualatin Valley. In fact, we just unveiled a new mural in downtown Forest Grove yesterday, and it celebrates the wine industry with a beautiful mural of grapes and vineyards and balloons soaring above them. So art, wine, you know, what a perfect pair.
You know what? Actually, the last time we were in Portland was for the Northwest Garden Expo. We did our radio show from there, and went to the gardens. And I you know, it's just such again, Oregon, the entire state is amazing, and I want to go. I know that I've driven through your area years ago, but I want to come back because, again, magical fairy Sherwood Forest, and, you know, Robin Hood things going on, and then there's wine, and apparently now there's art, you know. But Sylke, also, I was looking on your website today, and it seems like you're also a bird-watching destination, and you can't be a bird-watching destination if the wineries aren't being good to the land. So this is that other balance of how it all works.
Balance is very important here in Oregon, and we are a huge bird-watching destination. Cool. We're right on the Pacific Flyway. So those migrating birds, they stop and visit us in the spring, then they go back to the south in the wintertime. So It's a great place if you're a bird watcher, and if you like beer, you like wine, art, gardens, then it's very magical.
Awesome.
That's perfect.
Well, everybody, this is a destination. Diva knows best, obviously. Yeah, everybody, you can keep up with Diva Linda's story. Her story is up on blendradioandtv.com. Just type in Tualatin. It's Tualatin, Tualatin Valley. If you type that in, you'll find it on blendradioandtv.com. Also, it'll be featured in the February through April issue of Big Blend Radio and TV magazine for 2019. And again, if you're going to the area, go to tualatinvalley.org and definitely go and meet Andrew and go get yourself a big terracotta vessel. Go to BeckhamEstateVineyard.com. Hey, are we allowed to picnic? Do you have food there? Like, I got to ask that, Andrew. Like, when we come out to the forest and go in the winery and go look at big terracotta, like, what's the wine tasting experience like? We're all into the pottery part. I don't even want to call it pottery. It's like, yeah.
Our tasting room's open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 5 year-round, and we do studio tours and vineyard and winery tours. And we don't have prepared food for tastings, but we do have lots of picnic area, patios and covered tables and the like.
So we can buy wine and sit outside?
Yes, people do that all the time.
Okay, because that's awesome. Really all I want to do is sit and drink wine outside. Really? I love that. It's my favorite pastime of life. So everyone, BeckhamEstateVineyard.com, and also keep up with Diva Linda's adventures on her website. Go figure. She's Diva Linda, food, wine, shopping diva, allingoodtaste.info. The best website ever.
I know.
So thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Diva Linda, for always keeping us informed of these magical places. You know, I will go out there and look for Robin Hood because I do love a good man in tights with wine. I'm just saying. But we have a special song we're going to play for you. It's called Holy Water, and it's about wine. And it's from one of our favorite blues musicians, Allison August, and she loves wine. And she wanted us to play this. I know she does. Allison August with 2 L's, so everyone check her out at AllisonAugust.com. We'll have her back on the show soon. She's got new music coming out. But here it is, Holy Water. We had to play that because apparently, you know, these vessels are so old. You know, it's from ancient times. So there you go. Thanks for joining us, guys. You take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Here it is, some holy water.
I've been working many hours. Oh, yes, I woke up a long time ago. I aspire to draw on higher power, but sometimes I just feel so low. He don't know how I talk.